Hare Krishna. We will continue from Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 33. Bhishma Dev speaking to the Pandavas in the presence of Lord Krishna. So Bhishma Dev mentions, Shri Krishna is an intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the tamal tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. His glittering yellow dress and his lotus face, covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp, be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive results. So, Bhishma Dev sounds very much like uh, the mood of Vrindavan, right? Where we see Krishna, his beauty, his opulence, not his prowess as a diplomat, as a politician, as a king, but his sweetness, his form, Madhuram, 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 Madhuram. That song. So that's what Bhishma Dev is saying. That may that be by meditation. So that's the meditation of a devotee, and he's preparing his consciousness so that he can be in that mindset as he leaves his body.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Matt, please read.
युधि तुरगरजो विधुम्र विश्वक कचलुलित श्रम वार्य आलंकृतास्ये मम निशित शरीर अभिद्यमानं त्वचि विलसत कवचेस्तु कृष्ण आत्मा. On the battlefield, where Shri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses, and because of his labor. Beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go unto Shri Krishna.
So here, thank you, Mataji. Here we are getting the insights of Bhishma Dev's rasa with Lord Krishna, which I have mentioned before. It's the chivalry rasa, right? So there, Bhishma Dev is describing on the battlefield where Shri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship. The flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen, ashen as in how Lord Shiva has jata, So when dust, we have to shampoo our hair, right? When there's dust and things like that in the hair. So Krishna's hair has become by the hoofs, the dust from the hoofs of the horses, it has become ashen. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. Imagine Krishna sweating. By the way, it happened in our temple in Chicago, I'll tell you. All these decorations intensified by the wounds dealt by the. So all these decorations. Imagine the word Bhishmadev is saying. He's not saying, when somebody sweats, we're like, yuck, they smell at all. To Bhishmadev, it's a decoration of a great, warrior. So all these decorations intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. As he was shooting Krishna, the decoration of the wounds, Krishna bleeding, Krishna's side also he felt like that. Krishna also felt like flowers. And Bhishma Dev's side, he's calling it decoration, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. There is no end to how you want to love God, right? There are so many ways of loving God. So we see Bhishma Dev's loving God is in that mood of uh, what is it called? Virya rasa, right? Battling mood. Were enjoyed by him. Let my mind go on to Sri Krishna. So that's how he sees Krishna as a warrior. Okay, next verse.
सखादि सखी वचो निशम्य मध्ये निजपरयोर्बलयोरथ निवेश स्थितवती परसैनिकायुरक्षणा रतवती पार्थसखे रतिम mamastu. In obedience to the command of his friend, Lord Shri Krishna
Hare Krishna.
and the of the opposite party by his merciful glance. This was done simply by his looking at the enemy. Let my mind be fixed upon that Krishna.
In obedience to the command of his friend Lord Shri Krishna, entered the arena of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana, and while there, he shortened the lifespans of the opposite party by his merciful glance. This was done simply by his looking at the enemy. Let my mind be fixed upon that Krishna. So, very, very fortunate we are hearing the realizations of a Mahajana. So this is how he sees Krishna's uh, plan acting out. So he doesn't say Krishna kills with his glance. He said by his merciful glance, he's shortened the lifespans of those who are on the opposite party. So there is mercy in Krishna's annihilation also. And that's how a devotee sees. One time, my Guru Maharaj was giving a lecture on Parikshit Maharaj as Bhagavatam is about to start. So Parikshit Maharaj gets the curse that he will die in 7 days. And the person who comes and says, "Oh, you did this mistake with that Brahmana. The Brahmana boy cursed you that you could die in 7 days." It was without a second thought that Parikshit Maharaj's mind went out to Krishna so kind, right? And my spiritual master kept on repeating this, that no matter what happens in your life, as you're a devotee, whatever it is, Krishna's kindness. So let the mind immediately say, Krishna is so kind. And try to see the kindness of Krishna. Sometimes we might not be able to see, sometimes we might be able to see. Uh, and then I heard Maharaj's lecture and I started, putting it into practice. And this was a very difficult time in my life. I was transitioning from US to India and I was trying to see the situation as Krishna's mercy. Uh, and it was hard for me to see it. But I kept on telling myself mechanically, Krishna is so kind. Krishna is so kind. Krishna is so kind. He has bigger plans. Krishna is very kind. Somehow this is Krishna's kindness. I can't see it, but Krishna can. And by doing so, I survived that transition phase. And then I started seeing what Krishna had brought me here for. And I was like, I like this. Oh, this is what I wanted. This is much better than what I would have done in the US. Ah, I like it. Thank you, Krishna. If you didn't push me hard enough, I would have never left my comfy situation that I had in Chicago, and I wouldn't have experienced all the things I'm experiencing. And I tell you, after coming back to India, the kind of places I've gone to, nooks and corners of this country, I've learned about my country more than ever I knew it from geography books or history books, right? And it's been by God's grace and privilege to share Krishna consciousness along with business knowledge in so many different parts of the country, and so many deep relationships and friendships have been created, right? And to be honest, uh, tomorrow I die, at least for the next few years, some of those people will remember for the little bit of value addition I've been able to do in their lives, and that's what someone like me uh, yearns for. Is like, what, some impact was made in people's lives, that I didn't just become Krishna conscious by myself, or some wealth accumulation by myself, or some name fame by myself, but I've been able to share that with others, and others have also been able to develop, in leaps and bounds by the value sharing. So that when I experienced that, I'm like, this is what I wanted, but I didn't know I wanted this, right? And it wasn't. It was a perfect time to come back to India, 2016. When Prime Minister Modi just started Startup India and all of these things, startup revolution was happening, and I was living and breathing startups along with Krishna consciousness. For me, this was like literally just my element, and everything kind of I understood. This is Krishna's mercy in a way that I never thought, and I didn't want it that way because I liked my swimming pool, I liked my nice house, I liked my devotee family, and I wasn't okay with being the lifestyle that India does. But hey, I've learned to appreciate it, and I'm grateful, honestly, that I came back when I did come back. Now looking back and looking at how things are, how India is growing. So sometimes we don't know, but we must tell ourselves Krishna is kind because Krishna is kind. That is who he is, and somehow his kindness doesn't. He's not bound to show his kindness in the way we want to see it. To us, kindness is hugs, kisses, a little gift, little sweet words. But my training in Krishna consciousness has been very different. My Guru Maharaj has been like, almost every interaction for the first 5, 6, 7 years of my Krishna consciousness were just chastisements. And my mentor couldn't figure out, like, Guru Maharaj does not chastise anyone so much as he does to you. I needed it, and I would cry. I was a very crybaby, very soft-hearted. But then my mentor helped me see it that this is his mercy. He's taking active role in your life. He could just be the nice guru who gets to be worshipped on the altar and say all the good things that you want to hear. But he's constantly poking you, constantly changing you, constantly pushing you, right? Constantly criticizing you. Uh, and I was not used to that. I still have a very strong ego. And once I understood that is love, didn't get it, that was love. I surrendered. It took a lot for me to surrender. And then my spiritual master's mood completely changed. It became like a friend, joking, imitating me, writing letters to me, giving me services. And then I realized he was preparing me to be an instrument for him. Now that I have come to that point where somehow or other you can utilize me in his service, he's giving me all these services. That was love. This is also love, right? So we expect Krishna's kindness to be in a certain way that we want, but not always it happens that way. Sometimes it does, especially at the beginning stage. Krishna knows our surrender is not there. So he would show his kindness in a way we can recognize it's his kindness. But whatever happens, know that it is Krishna's kindness. We will understand it tomorrow or day after. Right? So that's Parikshit Maharaj's reaction. Same with Ambarish Maharaj. When Durvasa Muni tore his hair and wanted to created the fire demon to kill him, Ambarish Maharaj was like, okay, ready to die. This is Krishna's kindness. And Sudarshan Chakra came as Krishna's kindness and protected him from that demon and killed the demon and went after Durvasa Muni, who's the expansion Lord Shiva. Right? That's Krishna's kindness. Parikshit Maharaj dying in 7 days, also Krishna's kindness. And here we are hearing about uh, Bhishmadev talking about Krishna by the glance on the enemy side has reduced their lifespan out of his kindness. That's also Krishna's kindness. So we don't fully now. What is the kindness here? Let me ask you that question. The enemy side, losing their lifespan. What is Krishna's kindness here? Can anyone share with me?
They are instantly getting liberated, bro.
There you go. On the These are demoniac kings who have done so much mischief in their life. And by dying in that battlefield, in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they have been able to get liberation just by dying in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So it's kind of like in our scriptures, it is said that the murderer must be killed, right? Why? It's an act of mercy, it is said, to kill the murderer. Because if you're not killed in this life and you live life happily, next life, you don't get a fresh start. You have to be murdered. So might as well finish it off in this life so that next life you can have a fresh start and you can, have the opportunity to do whatever you want to do, right? So same way, certain times, certain karma has to be burnt, certain lessons have to be learned. And Krishna's kindness comes in all shapes and sizes. Tough love, sometimes sweet love. If we are adherent and we are obedient, then you see that sweet side of Krishna more often than the tough side, because you're learning from your mistakes and you're moving forward, right? So, other times when we are stuck with our ego, Krishna has to work extra hard to kind of break the mindset that is keeping us in this material world. So let my mind be fixed upon that Krishna. So this is also our Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said that when you're leaving your body, whoever you meditate upon, that's where you go. So Bhishma Dev is meditating upon this angle of Krishna, the merciful warrior Krishna. So he has the relationship with that aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, imagine the contrast here. The gopis, when they saw Krishna with the helmet and the weapons and everything else, they were like, "Oh, who's this guy? Sorry, can't relate to you." We went to that place in Kurukshetra, right? Uh, where the gopis met Krishna. They were like, "Oh, Krishna, can't relate to you. You supposed to be in Vanamala, like forest flowers and sweet Krishna with the flute. Here you have bodyguards and your horses and you're on the chariot and you're, with weapons and all. Sorry, this is not you. Come back to Vrindavan. Play with us, dance with us, be like how you used to be, right?" So, to one devotee, this is so sweet to see Krishna on the battlefield. To another devotee, this is not the Krishna they want. They have their Krishna who's the lover Krishna, the playboy Krishna, right? Transcendental playboy who loves to dance with them in the middle of the night. So this is a variety. It says variety is, what is it? Mother of enjoyment. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. So Krishna's relationships are all kinds of variety. And Krishna's nature is also filled with all kinds of variety. Okay, next verse, Mataji.
व्यवहित पृतना मुखं निरक्ष स्वजनवधात् विमुखस्य दोषबुद्धया कुमतिं हरदा आत्मविद्यया यश्र चरणरहित परमस्य तस्य मेस्तु. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by the ignorance upon observing the soldiers and the commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction.
Thank you, Mataji. Another meditation by Bhishma Dev. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted, seemingly, because Arjuna is Krishna's associate. And so Bhishma Dev understands Arjuna can't be polluted, but Krishna put him under illusion. That's why he was seemingly polluted by the ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield. The Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering the transcendental knowledge, Bhagavad Gita. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. Right? So, various meditations Bhishma Dev is remembering so that at the time of death, he can go to Krishna. So, when we are also struggling, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jeev Krishna Das, e Vishwas, Kurle Toar Dukho Nahi. So, when we stop meditating on our problems and take a moment, 5 minutes, and meditate on how kind is Krishna, how compassionate is Krishna, how loving is Krishna, how great is Krishna, how powerful is Krishna, suddenly the mind switches gears. And then you come back to your problem. You will look at the problem very differently with the confidence that Krishna is so powerful. Krishna is so kind. I have all the help I need. I can fix this with Krishna's help. That's what meditation means. And that's what Ishmadev is doing for death. It doesn't have to be only for death. It can be also for our difficult situations when we are struggling, or sometimes difficulty is not there, but we are just plateaued. We are not moving forward. Life is stagnant. Nothing is happening. I'm not able to, get forward. That's when, office, that's when, also we pray to Krishna. My dear Krishna, please, your adventure, right? Krishna says in chapter 10, I am adventure. So please allow me to have a nice, oh, then adventure means Krishna will also put us in what kind of adventures we don't know. Be careful before you pray that way. Also getting stuck in life is also not a nice thing. So maybe pray it this way that, my dear Krishna, please allow me to go forward, allow me to progress, allow me to grow, allow me to give. Only when I grow, I can give, right? When I'm stuck with my own life, how can I do anything for others? So that way, I think that's a better prayer than adventure. I have had somebody pray for adventure, and oh my Lord, the adventure that Krishna put her through was very scary. Yeah, roller coaster rides. Anyway, so yes. So Krishna, where was I going with this thought? Vishwadev's meditation. So that's what we see, that he is bringing out various angles of Krishna and meditating on that. And this is also for us to follow as we go through difficulties or stagnation or things that we need Krishna's help with. We also pursue a little bit of meditation on Krishna's glories than our problems, and then focus on finding a solution. You will see there is an empowerment to solve our situation. I'm speaking from personal experience. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. Text 37.
स्वनिगम स्वनिगमपहाय मत् प्रतिज्ञा ऋतम् अधिकृतम् अल्पौतो रथस्थ धृतचरण धृतरथचरणो अथैयाचलत् गुरु हरिरिव हन्तुमिव गतोत्तरीयः. Fulfilling my vow and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its will, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way.
So Bhishmadev is reminiscing that moment when Bhishmadev made the promise that he would kill Arjuna, and he made Krishna break his promise of taking up a weapon. When Arjuna's chariot was broken down, Arjuna's helmet was thrown away. Arjuna was practically, defeated by Bhishmadev's weapons. Krishna stood up, took the arrows, and finally, to save Arjun, Krishna took the effort to take the wheel and ran towards Bhishma Dev, just like a lion goes towards a elephant. And Bhishma Dev surrendered. He dropped his weapons. That my privilege to die in your hands, my dear Krishna. Right? He's reminiscing. So when we do Krishna consciousness activities throughout our lives, right, there will be wonderful moments that you will have when you're doing kirtan, when you're doing service with devotees, when you're in the holy dham. Capture those moments in the camera of your heart, because those are the moments at the time of death you'll reminiscent, and that's what make you, even though death is very difficult, this disease, coma, whatever it might be, you will actually smile remembering those moments, because that's what Krishna conscious lifestyle gives us. And thus, into the smile on your face, you leave your body, because you're remembering those powerful moments of devotional ecstasy. So make sure you have enough of those moments in your life, so that at the time of death, you have a nice toolbox, where you can remember these moments rather than the pain and suffering you're going through. Hopefully, your death is not painful or there is any suffering. It's a quick, I hope we all die in peace and in quick ways. But whatever it is, rather than focusing on the death, we focus on how glorious is Krishna and how beautiful some of our moments in Krishna consciousness has been. And you will see that not just death, but also difficult moments when you're going through, these things really take you through, right? When so many devotees have been jailed, so many devotees have been tortured, So, in countries like Bangladesh or Russia or places in like Pakistan, devotees have gone through tremendous amount of crisis. But what do they do with those moments? They hold on to those moments of ecstasy. They hold on to Krishna's reciprocation that they experience. They hold on to Draupadi's moments of, uh, you know, uh, glorification. They hold on to, how Arjuna felt when this happened, when Dhruva Maharaj felt this happened, when so and so. All these things, when we meditate upon, we are going through hell, but those are our light bulbs in that hell, right? As we go through, those light bulbs kind of help us get through to the other side when there is light, natural light. That's the devotee's strength. That's the devotee's gift. I don't know if it is true or not, but I heard that Nelson Mandela, when he was asked that how did he go through his he was asked, how did he go through those 20 something years in jail in South Africa before becoming the president of South Africa? His answer was that he had read the Bhagavad Gita, and there are certain verses of Bhagavad Gita that gave him strength. The Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, who was a black-bodied devotee, and he did profuse preaching in Africa. He and Nelson Mandela used to be friends. So Nelson Mandela said, "You think you're the only one who read the Bhagavad Gita? I have also read the Bhagavad Gita, and here are some of the verses that helped me get through those, days by meditating on those verses, by having faith in my Lord. That not necessarily he was believing in Krishna, but the Bhagavad Gita verses are not necessarily religious specific, right? If you are a Christian reading the Bhagavad Gita, it'll make you a better Christian. It'll make you love God, whatever version of God that you believe in. So Nelson Mandela said that the Bhagavad Gita verses helped him meditate on those verses, and that's what carried him through all the difficulties that he went through, being a captive person. So we are all captives in this material world. We are all struggling. Some people are struggling in a marriage. Some people are struggling in a corporate situation. Some people are captive in the society. Some people are captive in their own minds, anxiety, addiction. These are all prison cells, right? And within those prison cells, what liberates us is remembrance of Krishna. And that's what we see the great devotee Bhishma Dev is doing. He's remembering the various aspects throughout his lives that glorify Krishna. And by doing so, he is able to very easily, although lying on a bed of arrows, he's experiencing great joy, great meditation, and is getting himself ready to leave his body. I have reached my office. So give me like 1 minute. I'll get to my office and I'll continue it there. So I'll just take a little pause. Okay. So next verse. Anybody want to read? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji. It's fine.
शीतविशीकहतो विशर्णदंशः
Sorry,
क्षतज
am I at the wrong place?
क्षतजप
This is Swarnigam. We finished this one and then we are in text 37. Right? Mataji?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
This is the right verse? Yeah.
स्वनिगमपहाय मतप्रतिज्ञा मृतमधिक कर्तुमवलुप्तोरथस्थ धृतरथचरणोऽभ्याच्य लद्गुर हरिरव हन्तुमिव गतोत्तरीय. Fulfilling my vow and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly. Just like a lion goes to kill an elephant, he even dropped his outer garment on the way.
Oh, we read this. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. Next verse.
शीतविशीकहतो विशीर्णदंशः क्षतजपरिलुप्तम् आततायिनो मे प्र प्रस प्रसभमभिसार मदवधार्थं स भवतु मे भगवान् मुकुन्दः. May He, Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, He charged me as if angry because of the wounds dealt my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered, and his body was smeared with the blood due to the wounds.
May He, Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who awards salvation, Mukunda, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. Imagine the prowess of Bhishma Dev. Krishna's shield was shattered, right? And Krishna was wounded. And that's the prowess of Bhishma. Now, can anyone make Krishna wounded? Can anyone make Krishna's, shield scattered? Bhishma is who? Nothing compared to Krishna. Just a heart attack and Bhishma is dead. But this is Krishna's glorification. Just see how great a devotee. Although he's showing anger and everything, he's showing, look how great a devotee that he has defeated me almost. Like he's put me in trouble. So Krishna also enjoys this, right? This back and forth. Just like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. Although they were devotees, they wanted to kind of let the Supreme Lord flex his muscles and fight with them. So this is also another aspect, the Virya Rasa. Okay. Is there anybody else who wants to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'll read.
Please.
विजयरथा कुटुम्ब आततुत्रे धृतहया रश्मिनि तच् चिरेक्षणे भगवती रतिरस्तु मे मुमूर्षोर् युम इहा निरीक्ष्य हता गथा स्वरूपम. Translation: At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death.
Thank you so much. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Shri Krishna. The word attraction is coming multiple times, right? About Krishna. Akarshati iti Krishna. So even though we might not have so much of attraction, or maybe I shouldn't speak for myself, but Krishna is very attractive. And that's coming out of Bhishma Dev's statements also. Even Krishna sweating is very attractive. Right? The personality of Godhead. I concentrated my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original form after death. Like I said, every person who died on the battlefield got their original form, or got liberated rather. So when you go to Delhi temple, there Krishna is known as, our ISKCON temple is known as Radha Partha Sarathi. So Radha Partha Sarathi. Partha Sarathi is that aspect, Krishna being the driver or Sarathi of Partha, Arjuna. So imagine Krishna's name is named after his devotee. Krishna is named after his devotee. How beautiful is that? God is being named after Arjuna. So Arjuna's Parth, his name is Partha Sarathi, who is the charioteer of Partha. So Krishna loves this. This is Krishna's nature. He loves to be below his devotee, right? People name their children after Krishna, but Krishna's enjoying being named after his devotee. Yashoda Nandana, Nanda Nandana. These are all devotees of Krishna. They are not Krishna's parents. They are devotees. But Krishna likes to be named after them. So here Bhishma Dev is saying, at the time of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with him. Again, another visual, right? So these are all meditations. So this is another meditation, visual meditation, that he's holding the whip with one hand and the rope, and he's being Parthasarathi, and who was greatly careful to protect Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original form after death. Great, great personalities who saw Krishna face to face. Okay, next verse. Anybody wants to read?
I'll read.
Please.
Lali- yeah. Lalita gati vilasa valguhasa pranaya nirikshana kalpitorur manha pritam anukritavya unmadanda prakritim agan kila yasya gopavadva. Translation: Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Rajadhama, the gopis. The damsels imitated the characteristic movements of the Lord after his disappearance from the Rasa dance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Bhishma Dev is talking about Vrindavan, right? Rajatam, the gopis, very special. Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Shri Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Rajadham. The damsels imitated the characteristic movements of the Lord after his disappearance from the Rasa dance. We'll have to read it forward to understand more of the context. Okay, next verse. Munigana.
Munigana nripavarya sankulinta sadasi yudhishthira rajasuya esam arhanam upapeda ikshaniyo mama drishi gochara esha avir atma. At the Rajasuya Yajna, the sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was a great assembly of all the elite men of the world, the royal and the learned orders. And in that great assembly, Lord Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence, and I remembered the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord.
There's a very interesting incident that happened. So, as Maharaj Yudhishthira was doing the Rajasuya Yajna, the priests said that who should be the chief guest of that yajna. So some of the people mentioned Bhishma Dev's name. That Bhishma Dev is, he's holding up his principle, his vow of celibacy. He's such a great man, great warrior. Every angle you will look at it, Bhishma Dev is a perfect man. He should be the chief guest. And Bhishma Dev said, I might have taken the vow of celibacy, and I might have followed all the rules and regulations perfectly. But according to me, more celibate than me is Krishna, Govinda. Why? Because I have stayed away from women. But Krishna, being surrounded by women, whether it's the gopis or the 16,108 wives, still he has remained detached, celibate, and completely pure in spite of being in the middle of so many women. I couldn't have done that. I have done that by staying away from women. But Krishna, although in the middle of women, he maintains perfect purity and celibacy. So he should be the chief guest of honor for the Rajasuya Yajna. So great devotees can see the greatness of Krishna. To the degree they are great, to that degree they can see Krishna's greatness. Right? For us, to the degree we have become little great, we can see little greatness of Krishna. It is described, Srila Prabhupada would say, when you look from far away, the mountain range, it looks like a little wishy-washy, gray, like something. You come closer to the mountain range, then you can see the peaks and the valleys. You come even closer and your head hurts because you can see how tall the mountain is. When you start climbing the mountain, you realize how really tall the mountain is and how many trees and animals have taken shelter in that mountain. There are streams and caves and so many details are there, right? But from far, what does it look like? Oh, it's just a, aberration. So, same way, knowing God from far, Brahma Jyoti, he's energy, he's some higher power, right? You really don't know God when you say like that. You come a little closer, Paramatma, a little idea of the hills and valleys that the Lord is there. Then you come a little closer and you see Bhagavan in his beautiful form, in his yellow dhoti, and his, Vaijanti Mala, and his beautiful peacock feathered crown, and his beautiful lotus-like face, lotus-like eyes, all the details and the details and the details. So the greater the devotee, the greater they have access to seeing Krishna's greatness. And the smaller the devotee, the Kadishtadhikari, the lesser they see God, right? Yes, Pradeep.
Gee, little confusion that Rajasuya Yagya was performed after the Battle of Kurukshetra,
Mhm.
and Bhishma died in the Battle of Kurukshetra, right?
No, he's now dying.
Okay.
He's leaving his body after this. He's waited for all this time on the bed of arrows.
Oh my. Okay.
Any other questions?
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes,
Can I ask?
please.
The question may be very stupid, but I'll just ask. Bhishma Dev is the grandfather, so then he has sons Pandu, Dhritarashtra, and grandsons. Then how is he a celibate?
No, he doesn't have sons. Those sons have come through his brother. So his father uh, married this lady. Through her, he had uh, she had children, and those children. I might not get you the exact chronology or the what do you call the family tree, but let me remember it. Remember, Chandra was talking about how Bhishma Dev's father married Ganga Devi, and
Okay.
Ganga first, that was the first wife. So Ganga first married uh, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Huh? Shantanu.
Shantanu.
King Shantanu. So King Shantanu had Ganga as a wife, and Ganga said, "You can't ask me any questions. Only then you can be. The day you ask me questions, I will leave you." So King Shantanu had children with Ganga. Newborn baby, Ganga would put it in her water. Come back. King was heartbroken, but didn't ask question. Once, twice, thrice, four times. I think fifth or sixth or eighth time, I think, he asked, "What are you doing?" And that was Bhishma Dev. So then
Wow.
she left the baby, and Ganga went back. It said, "No more with you." Then King Shantanu was alone. Then he married this lady who was a fisherwoman. And with her, she said, how can I marry you, Shantanu? Because no matter how many children I have, this Bhishma will be the king because he's the eldest son. So I want my children to be kings. So that time, Bhishma Dev, to make sure his father is happy marrying the lady he loves, Bhishma Dev made a promise that he will never marry anyone or have any children. He'll be a celibate for life. With that promise, this lady decided to marry King Shantanu. And with her, you know, King Shantanu had children, and that's the progeny that came down to the Pandavas later on.
Okay.
But they've never married anyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Uh,
Mataji.
Prabhuji, this Rajsui Yag that happened was for Indraprasth, right? Not for Hastinapur, no?
My understanding was Rajsuya Yagya happened. I don't
In
know.
this Rajsui Yag, only when Duryodhan's weapons were taken away, that is the revenge he took with Draupadi. That is my understanding here.
I can't. I have to find out for you. My understanding is it is after the Battle of Kurukshetra, of crowning ceremony of Yudhishthir Maharaj. That is my understanding, but I might be wrong.
Okay, Prabhuji, I'll also search.
Maybe that's your homework. Next time you can find out, research, and come back with an answer.
Yes, sure.
Hare Krishna. See,
Hare
I'm an
Krishna.
entrepreneur. I'm all about delegation.
No, I had read the book in
Krishna,
Veda Prabhuji. That is where it was written, but I'll still
Which
maybe
book
my
did you read?
in Veda based the Mahabharat, the shorter version which is
Okay.
there. I read that
So next
one.
week you can kind of read it again and confirm with us.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll keep moving then. This happened during my presence, and I remember the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. So again, another example where something happened in Bhishma Dev's life about Lord Krishna, and he remembers that. Oh yeah, because he's saying he was present there at Rajasuya Yagya.
yes,
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Prabhuji, recently I was reading the Krishna book, and in that also it seems that the Rajasuya Yagya was performed before the Mahabharat war.
Okay, I'm wrong.
No, Prabhuji. It's written in the purport. After gaining victory in the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, the emperor performed the Rajasuya Yagya.
See, Prabhupada.
Rajasuya sacrifice.
Hmm.
So it's after the victory.
It's the second one, maybe.
Huh. But then he's saying he was personally present there.
So that was my confusion. He was present,
This
and
happened
how?
during my presence, and I remember the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. Okay. I'll do the easiest thing, ask my mentor and get back to you. All right. You do your homework, I'll do mine. And next week, I'll try to answer this question. Okay. Next verse.
Imam aham ajam sarira bhajam riddhi riddhi dishtitam atma kalpitanam patidrisham iva naikadhar sorry naikadharkam ekam samadhi gatosmi vidhuta bhedamoha. Translation: Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord, Sri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one.
Hare Krishna. Now I meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Sri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regards to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of mental speculators. What does that mean? Now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. Anybody wants to explain this verse? Now, especially this part, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconception of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart. What's the misconception? Pradeep Prabhu?
I'm not able to figure out, but I guess guesswork is that no guesswork, because the Mahajan like Vishnudev cannot think in that manner.
Okay, still give it a try.
That misconception of duality is Krishna is present, is physically present, and also is present with everyone, like present with gopis in Vrindavan. So this is duality. That was his misconception. Yeah.
So the fact that he's present in front of him and he's also in the hearts of all of us
Right.
simultaneously. So he has
Simultaneously.
transcended the misconception of duality where either Krishna is there or Krishna is in the heart. No, Krishna is in
Yeah.
all our hearts and he's also present in
Right.
front of me.
Right.
So he's saying now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord, Shri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended that misconception of duality in regards to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the
But
hearts of
next line is, yes, next line is even more confusing. Even in hearts of mental speculators.
yes, mental speculators are munis, those who are take philosophy and jugglery. So not only he's in the heart of devotees, he's in the hearts of non-devotees also. That's what he means. So those who are not necessarily, pro Krishna, they might be mental speculators. They think they're God. They might think God is formless. They might think, even in their hearts, Krishna is there. He is in everyone's heart. And then he says the sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. So Krishna as Bhagavan is in front of him, and Krishna as Paramatma is in the heart. But Krishna is one. The same Krishna is in the heart, the same Krishna who's in front. And because he has transcended the misconception of duality, he can now meditate upon this one Krishna.
Prabhuji, what led Bhishmadev to this conclusion? Means reading the previous verse, he derived that conclusion from previous verses. So what was that in previous verse that led to this conclusion?
I don't know. It's not about previous verses. Where do you get that he got this from previous verse?
He's saying now I can meditate.
Now, as in this stage of life, like now that he's about to leave his body, he's saying now I
Yes,
can
okay.
meditate with full concentration of the Lord because I'm out of duality. So in other words, when you're in duality, you can't meditate fully on the Lord. Only when you're transcended, you're transcendental, then you can fully focus on the Supreme Lord.
Right.
Like the last verse of Vedanta Sutra is, tell me.
Prabhuji, Bhishmadev, what Bhishmadev said, I have saw you that he derived, means जैसे जैसे उनके लाइफ के जो जो सिचुएशंस थे वो सारे वो रिमेम्बर कर रहे हैं और तब उनको ये कंक्लूजन डिराइव हो रहा है कि कृष्णा वहां भी थे और कृष्णा यहाँ भी है और अब ये उनकी ड्युअलिटी अल्टीमेटली डिस्ट्रॉय हो रही है.
ये थोड़ा स्पेकुलेशन हो गया ना?
हो सकता है.
Because you're trying to understand what Bhishma Dev, how he is thinking.
Yes.
But we can't. He's a great devotee.
Right.
And he has his way of thinking. We can't go in the speculation zone. All we can do is just read what he's saying. So
Right.
now he is able to focus on Krishna because he's transcended duality.
Right.
So end of Vedanta Sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Atha Ato. Now that you have a human form of life, now inquire into the absolute. Doesn't say that fully, human form of life. It says Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now inquire into the absolute. So it is understood now that you're in the human form of life, you can ask questions. In a cat body, in a dog body, you can't ask questions. So Brahma is saying Bhishma Dev is saying like that. Now I've come to this point of life where I can fully, exclusively focus on you because I've transcended the duality mode. Thereby telling us indirectly, if you're in duality, you can't understand God. Good, bad, ugly, beautiful, tall, short, cold, hot. Constantly we are bothered by duality. A devotee is equipoised. In any situation, they're Krishna conscious. Not bothered this way, that way. Not stone, but not bothered this way, that way. Can accept apparently opposing concepts. Achintya bheda bhed tattva. Krishna is proud, Krishna is humble, existing simultaneously. Krishna is kind, Krishna is strict, existing simultaneously. Krishna is in the heart, Krishna is standing in front of me, existing simultaneously. I'm beyond that duality. Thus, I can now focus without doubt on this Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not satisfied?
Not satisfied. Because the statue of Bhishma Devi is Mahajana.
Mhm.
So this cannot be the duality that he was struggling for. Means
But
he
he
cannot
is
struggle
a
that.
preacher also. He's speaking for us. Arjuna is also a great person. Arjuna was, my garden is falling. My throat is parched. So Krishna does that, right? Through them, Krishna is bringing out this wisdom so we can hear it. It's for us. Yes, at his level, you're right. He must have gone past duality long, long back.
Right.
But he's mentioning it so we hear it. But he's not mentioning just now I got past duality.
Hmm.
He's not saying 40
Ah,
years ago I got past duality. He's saying because I got past duality, I can see you face to face. And I can accommodate in my head, you're in my heart also, you're in front of me also.
right.
Hence, I can focus fully on you. Yes? No? Maybe so.
Uh, I think little more research needed.
Okay, that's your homework.
Yes.
So you can share next time, 2-3
Right.
minutes, what your research says. Okay? Thank you very
Yes.
much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. See you next Friday.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.